everybody? It's your boy King Crowder. Back again with another edition of History You May Not Know and Things That Are Not Taught for Sure. Today's lesson, we're going to stroll up to Boston, Massachusetts so we can learn about the great Edward Brooke. Edward Brooke was born October 26, 1919. He was an American politician of the Republican Party. He represented mostly in Massachusetts in the United States from 1967 until 1979. Prior to serving in the United States Senate, he was an Attorney General from Massachusetts. He was the first Black American to be elected to the United States Senate. Born from a middle-class family, Brooke was raised in Washington, D.C. He graduated from Boston Law in 1948 and then went into the World War II Army beginning in 1950. His politics rose early on as his finance was superb. He also, when he got into his political campaign, served 4 years as an attorney general. Then he ran for the state Senate seat in 1966. You must understand that he really took on a campaign for civil rights, and he was a key leader in the housing discrimination acts that we saw in this country. Mr. Brooke became a prominent site of registration. He was also very instrumental in the Watergate scandal. He ran on how President Nixon did not keep up his end of the bargain to make sure that Black Americans were taken care of. You must understand, in his middle-class upbringing, Mr. Brooke's father was also a lawyer who graduated from Howard. Shout out to HU. He worked in the Department of Veteran Affairs. His mother was the second of 3 children. She was raised in a racially segregated environment. She's from the Deep South and saw the harsh realities of what racism and segregation did to this country. Mr. Brooke graduated from Dunbar High School, then wanted to pursue academics again. As his undergraduate, he received his BA from Howard University. Then he went on to get his other degree from Boston University Law. As he began to go up in ranks in the Army, he was a second lieutenant. He was stationed in Italy in the 366th Infantry Regiment, in which he spent 195 days in the Italian unit. There, he became fluent in Italian. Because he was light-skinned, he began to emerge with the Italian culture. They could not separate him from a normal Italian due to him speaking the language. People must also understand, as he began to work on law cases and transition to more of his political campaign after he was discouraged from, after he was released from the military, he began to work in Boston. He was working in the Roxbury neighborhood, where he first began to see housing discrimination happen all over this country. He won the Republican nomination because he was very, very big on making crime and the world equal. Most people do not realize that Black Americans at this time exclusively supported the Republican Party. Most people don't realize that the Republican Party has signed a lot of landmark legislation. Despite losing his seat to a white going on as in time with, he began to keep working as the finance commissioner in Boston. As he began to overcome evidence for corruption and different things going on in Boston, he became known as a whistleblower. While he was a whistleblower as an Attorney General's office, he vigorously sought organized crime, such as the mob and other influence around this time. He began to get a name as those who stand up for a tight lip, standing up for equalism, and he attacked pseudo-conservatism. He attacked all those who did not believe in Black Americans having the same rights and those who had stereotypes of Black Americans around his community. You must understand, Edward Brooks received his credit. He was such a good leader. He received his congratulations from President George W. Bush in 2004. After he left the Senate, he relocated back down to his home, Chocolate City in D.C., where he began to work under the HUD officials and work on the city council. He was also a member of the Alpha Kappa Psi fraternity. He worked also in the World Policy Council, and he also made sure he contributed to housing for African Americans all around this country. Sadly to know that in 2002, he was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was truly sad to see that this gentleman passed away later on in his home in Coral Gables, Florida, at the age of 95. He lived a full life. He fought a good dream. Edward Brooks should be given his flowers based on how he stood up for what was right in this country. He was standing up for what was right in this country back when it was not good, back when people could get touched, and he went nose to nose, chest to chest with the mob. Mr. Brooke should be highlighted, should be discussed, should be talked about. All of our untold figures and what they had to overcome in this country that we do not talk should be highlighted. As Black Americans in this country, he was one of the first ones to make sure to put landmark legislation on the books and fight the good fight. We cannot overcome our other leaders that we actively hear about, but Edward Brooks was another lock to the chain that moved the bike and the pedal forward. It's your boy King Crowder, checking back out again with another untold gem about a political leader that was based out of Massachusetts that had its impact on the world. Please comment, like, or subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you learned something good today about this gentleman, and hopefully Mr. Edward Brooke legacy continue to live on. It's time for me to check out now. Peace.